Susan Mabry for roll call.
Chairman Marty Smith.
Here.
Vice Chair Vicki Anderson. Commissioner Montrell McClendon.
Here.
Commissioner Tommy Lee. Here. Commissioner Michelle Morgan.
Here.
Commissioner Lee Powers.
Here.
Commissioner George Chambers.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. This time, we're going to ask District 6 Commissioner George Chambers to lead us in an invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by District 3 Commissioner Mr. Tommy Lee.
Please bow your heads with me. Our most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you this afternoon thanking you for everything that you've done for us and all that you're going to do for us, because you are a giving Father, Lord, and we are blessed to receive all the things that you do give to us, Lord. And Lord, I just pray that the things that are said and done here tonight will be pleasing in your sight. Lord, they will be in accordance with your holy word and your will, and that they will be for the benefit of your kingdom and for the benefit of the citizens of Carroll County. And Lord, I always pause and say a special thank you and a special blessing over our men and women that are serving in our armed forces, that are protecting us, Lord, both here and abroad. And they say every night, nothing's going to hurt you on my watch. And Lord, always we thank you. We give you all the praise and honor and glory, Lord. And it's through your Son, Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioners. At this time, we'll move to item number 5 on tonight's agenda, approval of tonight's agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor? Those opposed? Thank you. Item number 6 in front of you, you had for your meetings, we have the work session meeting minutes of May 31st, 2018, special called commission meeting minutes from June 5th of 2018, and the commission meeting minutes June 5th, 2018. Look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the 3.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? Thank you. Next, we'll move into public comments. That's an opportunity for any of the public that's here that signed in at the back to express any concerns or things going on in the county. And we do ask you to try to limit those comments to around 3 minutes. And if we've got somebody here we can assign you to tonight to help resolve it, we'll put somebody with you. If not, we'll make sure we've got your name, number, and address here, and we promise you somebody will contact you from the county. With that being said, I've got 2. First, if you'll come and call you, state your name and address, we'll call on Mr. John Crosby.
John Crosby, and I live at 114 Plantation Walk here in Carrollton. I'd like to address y'all about building us seniors a senior center. And if possible, I'd like y'all to each have the letter. I'm only going to have time to read parts of it. I wrote it to be 3 minutes long, and all week long, once people found out I was coming up here, they brought interesting articles that they felt should have been included. But I'll get started. We live in a great county. We want to thank the board for all the work they have done to make our county a safe and active place to live. We as seniors, though, feel that one group of county citizens are slightly underserved. That group we're speaking of is senior citizens. You as leaders of this great county should and must approve the building of a senior center, a physical living heart for all our senior men and women. This center should be located near the track at the County Recreation Department on Noonan Road in Carrollton. And I'd like to talk a little bit about why we need the building right quick. If you've not been looking at articles in the paper and around, there's scams going everywhere. Seniors need to be told how to recognize computer scams, especially. Most of us are sort of familiar with telephone scams and personal people coming up to you, but computers are new to us, and we're having a hard time with computers. And all kind of people now shooting you emails, viruses and stuff. We need to clean them up. next part I'll read is I'll skip a little bit, and an estimated 15,699 people aged 65 and older live here now, and that's according to the 2017 U.S. Census Bureau. Our county's population is expected to grow by 9% over the next 14 years. And if our elderly population remains at 13.3% right now, we're going to wind up with about 20,000 elderly people here in the near future. And I think that number is way low. Two main reasons. Baby boomers are retiring in droves. The last number I heard was 10,000 a day, and the last one wasn't born until 1964. The next reason is medical advances are unreal. I have experienced several of those in the last year or so. It's just unreal how they're making our life better and keeping us alive longer. And the other reason is, in general, knowledge and health is just getting better, especially in our county with Tanner, but all over Georgia. And the last reason is this county's getting to be well known. People want to move here. People want to retire here. So people are coming in from other places, and that's good. When I hit my 3 minutes, let me know, because I know this is going to be longer than 3 minutes. I want to bring up some more facts. They brought me this article. It says, a man turning 65 this year in 2018 will be expected to live to 84.3 years old. A female retiring this year, turning 65, is expected to live to 86.6 years old. And the amazing fact is 1 out of every 10 of them is expected to live longer than 95 years. So that means we've got a major influx of seniors coming, and they're going to be with us a while. And I hope I'm one of them. I'll read the last paragraph now. In our county, some of the larger cities have senior centers. Carrollton, Temple, Bowden. They're doing a great job. Their memberships are growing, but these are small. The county's a lot bigger, got a lot more seniors that are underserved. They need a place to go. And two of the main reasons they need a place to go is isolationism in this country for seniors is really getting bad. And the reason I decided not to just read this letter and sit down today was this article they brought me. A lady brought me this today. This is an article in the AAA newsletter that come out this week, saying they are putting Alexis devices, Echo Dots, in rooms with seniors. Instead of trying to develop human contact, getting volunteers to go speak to them and all, they're putting mechanical devices there. I hope the city of Carrollton and the county of Carrollton and the state of Georgia never gets to where they think a mechanical device could take the place of a human contact. It's just, I know improvements have to be made, and that might be a good start. But I'm just afraid people will say, well, they got somebody to talk to now. I don't have to go talk to them. Okay, the last two reasons I really want a senior center, and I think we really need one, is I know cost is prohibitive. Everything costs money. Running it's even more costly than the rest. But a lot of people don't realize that senior centers have some income. Everything doesn't have to be a free ride. We do a lot of trips at the ones around, and they charge a little bit for the trip, and they tack on a little bit for the cost. Well, if we have a nice senior center, they have dances at other ones. They bring in a little money to pay for the band and probably make a little money. They have art classes, painting classes. A lot of those are not free. They're charged. I ain't saying the county should try to get rich, but charging a little bit for services is fine. I go to several exercise classes where they charge a little bit. A lot of the centers in this county do not charge at all, which is good. Some charge a little bit. So if you really look at, if it's built well, put in the right place, I think it's got a chance of never being sustaining itself, but to cut back on the cost. And that's one of the reasons I'd like to see it out at the county rec center at the track. If you go build one, if you got near other county buildings, maybe we can share. There's going to be a gymnastics center there. Maybe it'll have a room. We can have aerobics class for seniors. The walking track is there. Maybe we can have classes there where you do boot camps. They charge $35 and $55 in town for it. So there are a lot of options here. I'll leave them with them. Y'all can pick one up or they hand them to you. That's about all I got. If anybody's got any questions, last two things I do want to bring up though. 20% of Georgians, this came out just recently, 20% of Georgians from the from the Carroll, Georgia Old People's Association. 20% of Georgians are going to be over 60 in the next 5 years. 20%, that's 1 in 5. And the last thing I'd like to bring up, since I may have a minute and you're not pushing me, if we do get a senior center and we get at a track, I don't know if any of y'all ever heard of the Georgia Gold Olympics. There's a number of us from Carrollton go down there every year, and we participate in that. We rent a hotel room, we eat in their restaurants, we take money down there. If we could become a training center for this, which Georgia doesn't have one, at a rec center, it could bring in more income. I appreciate y'all's time, and I will leave you alone now, but I'll be back.
John, thank you very much. Next on the list, Gene Horsley.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Jean Horsley, live at 110 Clare Drive, Carrollton, Georgia. What John said is completely right. I am around a lot of seniors every weekend. We go to the senior dances. We go to different senior places, Dallas, Temple, out here in Carrollton, Billerica. And we even have seniors that come from Alabama. They come over here, they eat, they just love coming over here. There's no place over there for them to go. I know because they tell me this. So the proposal is just, I think, a wonderful thing, and it would be a wonderful thing for Carroll County. And I have there's probably over 200 signatures here that I've talked to people and got their signature, different ones here and yonder, in different parts of the county. And they're all real excited about it, about the proposal. So I think it would be great. I think it would bring in a lot of different people from Alabama, different places. We're not that far away. And seniors love to get together and socialize. I mean, we just all do. I never knew it till years ago, and I realized that, yes, this is something that keeps you going. You got something to look forward to every day. We look forward to all getting together every weekend. It's just it's something that you got something to look forward to. And it's a very social place. It's socialization for everyone. So I thank you, and y'all have a blessed night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Horsley. And to update Mr. Crosby and Mr. Horsley, as well as the board, we were out looking at an issue at Ms. Horsley's house when she brought this up. I talked to Sandra Morris, didn't know if she'd be here at a called meeting, and she is very active in the community with the seniors. And I know, Mr. Crosby, you have been for a long while, but she has agreed to serve and put a small committee together to look and see what the challenges would be in Carroll County. With 503 square miles and large, how we could coordinate with the other ones, but she said feel free to contact her. She would love to work on this and get a bigger picture. So we will assign her to this. She's told me thanks for volunteering her again, but she wanted to look at this. So thank you both. That's all we had on the list for public comments. At this time, we do want to take a moment for special recognition. Everybody works hard, everybody does a lot, and I think it's in due time to stop and recognize when somebody has made recognition for outstanding service. The Stanley Parkman Award is presented to an individual for outstanding service to the community, business leadership, and the highest ethical standards in the workplace. It was named for the former editor and publisher of the Times-Georgian, Mr. Parkman, that we all remember. He was regarded by many to be one of the finest citizens in this region and one of the most respected stewards of community newspapers in Georgia. This year's winner is a past president of the club, and I think you will agree, has built her entire career on maintaining the highest of ethical standards, both personally and professionally. Miss Stacy Blackman is a native of Carrollton and graduated from West Georgia College. She graduated first in her class from Oklahoma City University School of Law and returned to practice law in Carrollton, joining Tysinger and Vance in 1991. As many of you know, Stacy is very involved with this community, active in the Rotary Club, the Carrollton Presbyterian Church, to name just a few. She has offered countless hours of legal advice to so many organizations and businesses in this community and statewide. Kirby Butler, another great citizen here, commented and said, who has worked on a variety of projects with Stacy. Her personal comment was, there is no attorney that is more thorough, more accurate, and more honest than Stacy Blackman. And Miss Blackman's law partner, Mr. Dick Tysinger, added, if I said all I would like to say about how deserving Stacy is of this award and how much I admire her as a person and a lawyer, this meeting would go far beyond 1 hour. Suffice it to say, it has been one of the highest honors in my life to be called her law partner and to have her as my personal friend. Stacy was nominated for this award by John Jackson. It is my honor to recognize the 2018 Stanley Parkman Award winner, Miss Stacy Blackman, our county attorney. And we all agree, Stacy. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, we'll go to item number 8, financial session. We're going to call on Lehman Stevens, the finance director, for a financial recap for May of 2018.
All right. Thank you, Chairman. I'll go over a few of the highlights. The May 2018 year-to-date revenue is $46,115,316. That's 93% of the budgeted revenue for the fiscal year, and compares to the prior year of $44,174,000. So we have an increase of $1.9 million. On the expenditure side, the May 2018 year-to-date expenditures total $44,070,000, which is 89% of the budgeted expenditures, and compares to the prior year of $42,168,000. But I do want to point out that in May of 2018, we had 3 payrolls. Twice a year, there's 3 payrolls instead of 2. And this occurred in May this year, and last year it was in June. So you'll see that swing has affected, but we'll catch up in June. The fund balance at May 31st was $12,201,000 compared to the prior year of $11,064,000. So we are still up $1,137,000. The general fund cash at May 31st, 2018 was $13,137,000 compared to $12,221,000. So it's showing an increase of $916,000, but again, that extra payroll brought that number down, and you'll see that go back up in June. But the $13,137,000 is 97 days of operating cash.
Fantastic. Any questions for Lehman from the board? Seeing none, we'll move to item 8.2. We had 2 resolutions submitted and were asked and requested to go on our minutes, so we're going to ask those to be read at this time. County Attorney Stacy Blackman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, we have 2 organizations that support the 1% T-Splost and have resolutions that they would like us to read. The first one is from the Development Authority of Carroll County. Whereas the purpose of the Development Authority of Carroll County is to promote trade, development, and industry in Carroll County, whereas the authority believes the adequate funding for the construction, improvement, and maintenance of roads, streets, bridges, sidewalks, and bicycle paths within Carroll County is vital to the promotion of economic development in Carroll County. Whereas Carroll County, Georgia, and all municipalities have determined that it is in the best interest of the citizens of the county to impose a countywide transportation special purpose local option 1% sales and use tax, the T-SPLOST, for 5 years for the purpose of funding certain transportation purposes within the county, which is expected to raise approximately $82,500,000 during the 5-year term. And whereas the county and the municipalities have determined that they cannot meet all the transportation needs under current funding, and the imposition of the T-SPLOST will raise adequate funding for the cities and the county to improve road conditions and to meet the cities and counties' respective transportation project needs. And whereas the voters of the county will have the opportunity to vote on the T-SPLOST on November 6, 2018, now, therefore, for the foregoing reasons, the Development Authority of Carroll County fully supports the imposition of the 1% T-SPLOST within Carroll County. This was adopted on June 20th, 2018, signed by their chairman, Tim Warren. Our second resolution is from the Chamber of Commerce, the Carroll County Chamber of Commerce, and it states, whereas the mission of the Carroll County Chamber of Commerce is building a stronger business community by engaging progressive leadership and diverse resources in Carroll County. Whereas the Chamber believes the adequate funding for the construction, improvement, and maintenance of roads, streets, bridges, sidewalks, and bicycle paths within Carroll County is vital to the promotion of economic development and a stronger business community. Whereas Carroll County, Georgia, and all municipalities have determined it is in the best interest of the citizens of the county to impose a countywide transportation special purpose local option 1% sales and use tax for 5 years for the purpose of funding certain transportation purposes within the county, which is expected to raise approximately $82,500,000 during the 5-year term. And whereas the counties and municipalities have determined that they cannot meet all the transportation needs under current funding, and the imposition of the T-SPLOST will raise adequate funding for the cities and the county to improve road conditions and to meet the cities and counties' respective transportation project needs. And whereas the voters of the county will have the opportunity to vote on the T-SPLOST on November 6, 2018, now, therefore, for the foregoing reasons, the Carroll County Chamber of Commerce fully supports the adoption of the 1% T-SPLOST within Carroll County. So adopted June 11, 2018, and signed by their chairman, Matt Wyndham. So they wanted everyone to know their support.
Thank you, and so duly recorded in the minutes. We'll move on to item 8.3. We'll call on County Attorney Stacy Blackman as well for resolution authorizing the T-SPLOST and IGA.
Thank you. Yes, we have a proposed resolution to authorize the intergovernmental agreement with the county and all of the cities in the county, those being Bowden, Bremen, Carrollton, Mount Zion, Rootville, Temple, Villa Rica, and Whitesburg. And it's for the use and distribution of the proceeds that would be generated by the 1% T-SPLOST. The agreement is attached to the resolution. This resolution would authorize the chairman to execute the agreement and make minor changes that would be needed, and to take all other action to implement this resolution.
We'll look for a motion from the board.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? All those opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. This time we'll move to item number 9, move into the business session. We'll call on County Engineer Brian Kent for resolution amending soil and erosion ordinance.
Evening, Chairman, Commissioners. The necessary, in 2010 census identified urbanized areas in Carroll County. In 2014, the state of Georgia determined that Carroll County is an MS4 regulated community, MS4, Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System. So we developed a stormwater management plan. We developed a couple of different ordinances to get into compliance with that program of 2014. We submit annual reports to the state. In March of this year, our program was audited by the state, and the necessary is why I'm before you today. In 2017, we renewed the stormwater permit, and part of that requirement was to add at least some language into one of our ordinances that show that we're in compliance with the 2017 permit as it moves forward. It's good for 5 years, so we've signed it, we've moved forward for 5 years. So I'm coming before you today per that audit to add those 2 sentences to our erosion control ordinance. That is the reason why I'm here and what's before you today. Any questions?
On behalf of Mr. Kent, we'll look for a motion from the board.
Make a motion.
Motion and second. Now, any discussion, any questions from Mr. Kent? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? Thank you, Brian. Next item on tonight's agenda, item 9.2, we call on County Attorney, again, Ms. Stacy Blackman.
Thank you. This is a proposed resolution to amend the service delivery strategy agreement. It's just to have a minor map amendment for the Mount Zion Water Service District. Mount Zion is applying for a community development grant with the DCA, and this amendment is required to reflect the water service district that's currently being served by the city of Mount Zion.
Look for a motion from the board.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. Item 9.3, financial audit. We'll call on Mr. Leland Stevens, Finance Director.
All right, thank you. The engagement letter that you have is a standard engagement letter, and it's from Rushton and Company. It is to perform the services that's required by state law. Rushton and Company has performed the county audit since 2015. They specialize in government audits. Their main office is in Gainesville, but they have opened a branch office in Carrollton and hired some local people. And there is no increase in the fee for their services this year. So I'd like to recommend that we use Rushton and Company for the audit.
Absolutely. Motion from the board.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion and second. Now any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? Thank you, Lehman. Next, we'll be moving into the zoning session. Item number 10, we'll call on Ms. Janet Hyde, County Planner.
Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. The first item that I have for you tonight is a rezoning at 1350 Oak Grove Church Road. The applicant is William Paul Hamus. He's requesting to rezone from agriculture to R2 residential for the purpose of dividing a portion of the tract containing an existing mobile home. This is 2.33 acres total. It's landlocked 61 in the 11th district, tax map 0930054. This is in Commissioner Powers' district. The applicant is present. Staff recommended approval of this application, and Planning Commission also recommended approval.
All righty, if the first applicant will come forward, we're going to go over policies and procedures. The applicant or anyone speaking in favor of the application request shall be allowed a total of 10 minutes to present or request information. Anyone opposed to the request shall also have a total of 10 minutes for their presentation for their opposition. At that time, we'll have an additional 5 minutes allowed for each party for rebuttal time. So with that, we'll call on the first applicant.
Yes, sir.
You just explain what you're doing. Yes, sir, what your goals are.
Excuse me. I'd like to sell an acre of ground to Tim Eccles here, and they told me it was zoned agriculture. I had to get it zoned commercial.
Residential.
Pardon?
Residential.
Or residential, yeah. And that's why I'm here.
Okay. Anyone else here tonight in favor of this request? All right, we'll ask, is there anyone here tonight in opposition of zoning request, item 10.1? We'll ask a second time, anyone here in opposition of item 10.1 under the zoning session? Seeing none, we'll ask for a pleasure from the board.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Now, any discussion from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, is this it? We need to go to another meeting?
This is the last meeting. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
usually when you go to this old courtroom, it's the last meeting.
Yes, sir. They either send it you or they don't. Yes,
Back in
sir.
the day.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all very much for your patience. Thank you, Janet.
The next item that I have is conditional use on Mashburn Road. The owner applicant is Gregory McDonald of Hesley Properties. They're requesting a conditional use for a mini warehouse storage facility. This is approximately 1.54 acres, land lot 60 of the 11th district, tax map number 94-0218. This is also in Commissioner Powers' district. The staff recommended approval of this, Planning Commission recommended approval. The applicant is present. I did want to point out that we got a notice today from an adjacent property owner asking for some conditions to be placed on any approval that was given. This property is in the corridor development area. It's within the 500-foot primary corridor area. So it will have to meet some more stringent guidelines with regard to landscaping and parking and aesthetic elements once the building plan comes in. But the applicant is present.
All righty. We'll call on the applicant. Brock?
My name is Ricky Brock from Carrollton. I'm representing Hesley Properties, trying to get a conditional use permit to build some mini warehouses right off Highway 27, Mashburn Road. I've got a company's on the back page.
I guess so the public knows, this is a list or a drawing of landscaping.
And the price to do it.
This is not a final site plan, but it's just a, it's preliminary plan of what we want to do.
You want to just continue with the project and what your goals are?
Excuse me now?
What your goals are, what you're going to be putting there and all, explain?
Yeah, we're going to put 2 mini warehouses to start with, and, just see how it goes. And, of course, we're going to fence it and put a gate up and landscape it. And right now, the whole lot is asphalt, totally. And we'll just have to disturb part of it, small part of it, probably less than an acre.
Starting with 2 units. to start with.
Two.
Two buildings,
Two
75
buildings.
to 80
Yeah.
units.
I mean,
Is that each
There's probably
building
room for
or-
4 to 5, but just want to do 2 right now.
Babies or whatever. Yeah, 4 or 5
Yes.
Excuse-
little mini warehouses.
They'll run east to west.
how many cubicles?
How many? There'll probably be
units per
around
building?
60 to each one.
60.
So you're looking at
It depends on the configuration, if we go by 10 by 10s or 10 by 15s. The buildings will be probably 30 by 135.
We're well under the 10 minutes. Keep them there. Mr. Brock, is there anybody else here to present? Anybody else here in favor of this project that wants to speak?
Is anybody else in?
Yeah, here in favor for the 10 minutes. Anybody else want to speak in favor of the project?
Anybody else in favor of it?
If they want to go on the record under your 10 minutes to tell the board why you want to do this.
You want to come up?
You do not have to, yes.
This is my sister. We started this thing together.
I'm Debbie North, I'm Ricky's sister, and I'm just part ownership, you know, and we think it's a great area, there's a need for it, and I'm for it.
Okay.
I think it'd be an asset to the community. You know, there's nothing down that way. And
There's already businesses there, so, you know, four-lane highway and businesses there, so.
Okay. Any other comments? This falls under your initial 10 minutes, and then we're going to open the floor up for anybody in opposition for 10 minutes. So anything else under your original 10 minutes?
I mean, it's,
I totally understand what you're doing. Exactly.
we just want to do it. We want to do them right. We want to make them
Absolutely.
nice. You know, like I say, fence them, gate them, landscape them.
Okay.
It'd be metal engineered buildings.
Okay.
I think it'll be a asset to some of the things around it.
All righty.
We have a meeting on 19th with Chad Wood, Superior Structures. I think we're supposed to meet with him.
Okay.
We've got somebody, all they do is warehouse, mini warehouses. That's what they do, all they do.
All right. All right. Still have 5 minutes. If anything else needs to be said under the initial in favor of. If that's all you've got, we'll accept that. All righty. We'll close out those 10 minutes. We're going to go on to, if there's anyone, Mr. Brock, y'all have a seat just right there on the front because we're going to call you back if there's any. Go ahead.
I guess I'm saying if there's some kind of opposition.
Please state it just into the mic, just so it's recorded. Yes, sir.
If there's some kind of opposition, I'd rather table it than be voted down, but
Before we take a vote, we'll discuss it and see if there's any meeting and see what can be done. And at that point, that would be a decision. We're gonna have the opposition a chance to talk, then we'll call you back up to rebut anything they said for clarity, and we'll give them a chance to rebut as well. And at that point, we'll be able to ask questions, see
Okay.
if there's a meeting spot in the middle. If we come to that, and we may need to table it. If we do, we'll go that route as well. So,
Okay.
Yes, sir. Just so we're clear. Thank you. Now we'll open up the 10 minutes on any of those in opposition.
My name is John Denny. I live at 2345 Hazenville Road in Carrollton. I'm not really speaking completely in opposition. I'm opposed to it without some restrictions and conditions, and I think that you have gotten those. I had emailed them earlier today to Ms. Hyde. I do want to correct one thing. I had said in the initial one that it was outside the corridor development on 27, and I was mistaken on that. She corrected me and said that the corridor was 500 feet instead of 300 feet, so I was wrong on that. Ricky Brock is a friend of mine, and I've used him in business a lot, and I certainly understand he, like me, has mostly been self-employed and is rightfully looking for things that would produce some retirement income probably. I had talked with Ricky earlier. I had asked him to maybe meet with us and try to come up with something, but we didn't get that done. I had spoken with a landscape architect that we have used on developments and asked him, DJ DeVictor, and I asked him to give me some names of some plants, suggested sizes, and some spacing for something that would make a reasonably attractive screening. And that's, those are the things on this list that he had suggested. Let me tell you that we bought, this was a Staples property that we bought in 1993. We asked for zoning, commercial zoning on the first 300 feet back from Highway 27 on our original zoning request, probably that same year or soon thereafter. It was before the Massey Ferguson dealership was built. That was approved, and then sometime later I noticed that the entire tract was shown as zoned commercial, and I asked about that, and I don't remember if it was when Ortegas was here or if it was sometime before that, but what they had told me was that they couldn't rezone a portion of a tax parcel. So our intent was that the Mashburn Road side would stay as agricultural or residential zoning. I will tell you too that the remaining property that we have that joins Mashburn Road north of this property, we are in the process of asking for that to be rezoned to residential property, simply because it's right across the road from Daniel Mashburn and Gary Mashburn, just families that we've known a long time. And it's I mean, I gave you a couple of pictures. It's a good, what I would call agricultural residential area, and we want to respect that. So anyway, that's the reason we're asking for both the screening and the access to be from that commercial drive that's existing now, rather than putting additional ones on Mashburn Road. And I think that's everything I have. I know that, let's see, I don't think any of the Mashburns were able to get here, but I do see Dr. Hamner, so I'll leave a couple of minutes. Do you want to? That's all right. Go ahead. Okay, I don't think I have anything else. I think it's all covered unless you have
Okay.
questions.
All right.
About that.
So, now this is what he sent by email.
Do you need, does any of you need, I've got 2 or 3 copies
Yeah.
of this.
I didn't know there was something newer that Janet had. Okay. Janet said something, so
I
I
did
wanted to
forward
make
it to
sure.
her and attorneys today when I got it.
Oh, read it? Okay, okay.
I have last night. I just didn't know, she said something about it, and I thought, where's the rest of it?
Okay. The plantings we're asking for is a mix of green giant arborvitae and green leaf holly, minimum of 6-foot size, 9-foot on spacing on centers, along the Mashburn Road side and extending about 2/3 of the way back on the sides running perpendicular to Mashburn Road, and then to put about a dozen Loropetalum just for variation along in front of those, and then 3 crepe myrtles and 1 red bud on each corner, just to, again, just for aesthetics. And let's see, we're asking that the drive come in from that commercial drive that's already there. There's an existing paved drive from that over to the paved area, and like Ricky said, almost all of this is just asphalt paved. There's some area around it. We're also asking that you not waive any of the setbacks, because if you set it back, if you didn't set it back from Mashburn Road a ways, the plantings would be under the power line, or likely to be under the power line, and so I would be concerned that they would get either sprayed or cut. And then we're asking for fence and at least the part visible from Mashburn Road to be a vinyl coated fence, either black or green. I think that was everything on your list. I think that's everything on that list. If I didn't miss something. There is a recorded covenants on this property, and an architectural control committee.
Okay. All right, if no one else is in here in opposition, Mr. Brock, we'll call you back for a rebuttal to discuss some of the items that the neighbors are wanting. You've got we'll open it up to 5 minutes to discuss.
I couldn't hear a lot of what he said. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit hearing impaired, but let me give you some pictures. This is a lot right next to where we want to do. Jimmy owns this lot. I mean, we want to make it look nice, but it has to be improved. I know he's got a lot down here about landscaping he wants, but don't some of that come under covenants, which wouldn't be the county's responsibility? The county's I'm just asking for a conditional use with access to my property off of Mashburn Road. And then of course it will be, like I say, landscaped and fenced with a gate, and which I feel like would be a great improvement from what's next to it, and the way it's going to be. I mean, when I present a site plan to the county, I guess it may have to. Does it need to be more specific than what I've showed on that?
No, just for them to visibly see and get approval. What the opposition has presented is a list.
Right.
And at this point under rebuttal, it's for you. Are you willing to go through this list, and can you do the things they're requesting? Not that you have to, but are you willing to negotiate with the property owners and look over this list and determine, you mentioned a fence, they want a fence. Is it going to be vinyl coated? And work out the details in this. That's what they're asking for.
Sure.
And this is what we need you to do. Is I'm not going to make a motion. It's not in my district. My district's everywhere. I'd request it from the district down. If this is not going to affect you, to table it to where y'all can sit down and go through this list and check the things you can do, then you come back to us saying, we've agreed to do X, let's move forward. That helps this board make the decision. That saves the rebuttal and opposition, because you're wanting a fence anyway, they're wanting one up. It's just making sure y'all doing what each other wants. If y'all are willing to do that, if you can go through this list right now and determine what you can and can't do and negotiate with who is in opposition, or we can table it and work through it and let y'all meet and come back to us. Does not matter to us. That's where we are. It's whatever's best for you.
Well, I don't want to get turned down after wait a year, but I mean.
Yeah, do you have this list requested? Have you got the list that they're requesting here?
I do.
Okay, he got it today. All right. Have you gone through this list? Are y'all willing to do this list right here? Because what we're going to do is say we're going to approve a conditional use, and then we're going to attach this to it and vote on it.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I think somewhere on here it says says no access off Mashburn Road. I'm not willing to do that because the property is on Mashburn Road.
Yes, that's what we need to know about this list right here. Yes, sir.
See, are y'all familiar with the property?
Yes, sir.
Yes. There's a road that comes in the front of those three businesses. It's a common road, but it ends. And if we had to come through that, we'd have to come through their parking lot where they have traffic. You could have a U-Haul truck coming in there or something. We just need access off Mashburn Road to the business.
Okay.
And it'd be a nice entrance, you know, paved. A lot better than what's back there now.
Sure. Until I get a recommendation, Mr. Denny, I'm gonna call on you. I saw you shaking your head. If there's a different way, is there a route he can come in? Can y'all meet on this right here and determine what can and can't be done, is what I'm asking.
I'm just saying, it does not have to come through somebody else's parking lot.
If you'll come forward, yes.
You'd have to come through somebody else's parking lot to get there.
No, that commercial drive comes from Mashburn Road up to the backside of Cowboy Shop.
Cowboy
Cycle
Shop and
Works,
all.
so
Yeah,
forth. So, there's some common property between that commercial drive and the property that Ricky's talking about.
Yeah.
It already has it has a narrow drive, paved drive going to it now, and it will not be wide enough. But we're just saying, rather than an additional interest off of Mashburn Road, that's what we would.
That would be an easement, and this common ground up here is where all the sewer system and all for all those buildings is at. I'll show you this. This is just a hand sketch here or something.
There is drain fields in that same common area, but we've allowed for at least a 30-foot access to come behind each of these, between the front lots and these back properties. So you don't have to go over top of the drainage.
But you offered me a road earlier on some property down there.
I offered you some on the front.
Yeah, when I was gonna buy some property, you said you could come on off Mashburn Road.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
Okay, you wanna?
I mean, I feel like we need to access off Mashburn Road to the property
Sure, and
because
if that's what you're here to request, we don't wanna vote and turn it down. What we wanna make sure is that both property owners or anybody involved has gone through here and see if there's a point where y'all can meet and agree. That way we don't take the chance. I'm not saying you're gonna be voted down. I'm not saying you're gonna vote. We hadn't voted. I wanna make sure y'all are on the same page and can get as much of this list done to where we can meet, and then we'll just have to take a vote. You may say we can meet 10 out of 20 things, and that's, we're gonna stop at that point.
You're willing to do the landscape to make it nice and make it pretty and to be of improvement down there.
Why don't you make a motion, and then we can have
We're not
discussion.
ready, he called.
You can do, we've allowed that, you know, if y'all want to discuss, is to keep asking.
I tell you, I'll make a motion for approval with a few conditions, and the conditions that I would like to see is you put up a vinyl fence with automatic gate, and I mean, I don't really care what color it is, if it's black or green, and I do want it landscaped because there are some real pretty houses behind, on Mashburn Road, and I can understand when, in that type business, people coming and going, and are y'all going to do any hours of operation of when people can come and go, or is it gonna be a 24-hour thing? That's only conditions that. Mm-hmm. Well, I make a motion to approve with conditions of the proper landscape with the county and the fencing.
We had not finished the original
Second.
5 minutes, and then we've still got the rebuttal from the opposition still to go.
So we got
Correct.
first and second, right?
Yeah, so we're not motioned yet.
Sorry.
Yeah. All right, so are we through with the 5 minutes on time? It's been a shared minute, and I apologize for not because y'all keep it down there. We'll open up. Is there any other thing under the rebuttal that you would like for us to know?
I just want access off of Mashburn Road.
Okay.
Fence, landscaping. It'll be nice, good-looking buildings,
Sure.
steel, engineered buildings, all asphalt.
Okay. Anything
And,
else?
you know, I'm willing to talk to you about some of these trees, and we had a design here with some
Sure.
stuff. I really don't want to put 6-8 foot trees in, because it's not like it's a junkyard or something.
I
You
understand.
know, it's a decent looking building.
Okay, we're about up on the 5 minutes now. Okay. We're gonna close it out. If you'll have a seat on the front row, we're gonna close out the rebuttal from the proponents that are in favor.
Okay.
Mr. Denny, we'll call on you for the last of the 5 minutes for anybody in opposition.
Okay, The only thing, rather than just say that it would be landscaped, I just think it's only right to have something specific. And normally, when I have come before, and I've been before plenty of boards and councils, we have always presented something specific. And not having that, that's the reason that I did this, because to just say it'll be landscaped is not very, you get different definitions of what that is. So I would like something specific. I think the neighbors deserve that. And I don't see a real overriding reason to come in off of Mashburn Road. It's not steep, it's just flat, pretty much to come in the way the other commercial properties come in, and I would just request that.
Okay.
Be glad
Anybody else for rebuttal? Seeing none, we're gonna close those 5 minutes. Now, we're gonna open up for discussion. One thing I've got, Mr. Denny, have you seen his landscape, what he's requesting to put in? So you don't know what size or what he's requesting either? Okay.
What kind of covenants do y'all have on that property right now? You said there was some covenants.
I'm sorry, what kind of what?
You said there was some covenants right now that's in place that's,
Yeah, they're mostly to do with landscaping and
so he's got to meet that anyway, what y'all have already put in place, right? That whoever developed that piece of property, isn't there some covenants that's recorded on the deed?
Yes, absolutely.
And it's concerning land, so he has to meet that anyway, because that's recorded.
Yes, the difference is that if he were to violate the covenants, we would have to go to court to address that, where if it's a condition of the approval, then that's something that the county wouldn't have to go to court to enforce. Simply.
Then can I change my motion that he has to do what's the covenants there and put that in the motion? Can I do that?
Absolutely, you can make an amendment to your motion.
All right, can I amend that
Or
motion?
you can withdraw a motion and make another motion. Yeah, it was during the 5 minutes, so you don't have a motion on the floor active right now. So you want to start with a new motion?
Well, I make a new motion that it's approved and he has to go by the covenant recorded restrictions that's on the property now.
One point is that if they change the covenants, I guess, we haven't seen those covenants. Is it the existing covenants
The
that have to
existing
go, the
covenants that's
landscaping
recorded right
requirements?
now, whatever's recorded at the courthouse right now, I make a motion that he has to,
Right.
he has to do that.
I guess we don't have a copy of that to know what it is. We haven't seen those covenants to know what those requirements are. And we don't know if, Mr. Brock, have you seen those covenants? Have you seen the covenants that apply to the property, the landscaping requirements? You have not? No? Okay.
You're not gonna solve it, yeah, but if he hadn't even seen the covenants, they need to get together.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't mind making that.
We haven't voted on his motion yet.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a motion in the second
Yep.
right now, so we gotta,
We've got a motion in a second,
So discussion, can I
and
ask
now's
to table it,
discussion,
or can we
yes.
just- Okay, I have a couple questions, and then we can see what else we want to do. All right, the secure gate that stays closed except during entry and exit. So is this going to be like 24 hours that whoever has stuff in one of the units can come and go, or is it set hours?
Well, we have a gate with a keypad, and if you don't have anything in there, you can't get in. You have a code to get in.
Right, so if you have a code, you could come at 1 a.m. or 4 a.m. or 4 p.m. in the afternoon. It's 24 hours you can access your unit.
Well, that's not what a keypad's for, but I don't mind having it 12 hours.
Okay, I'm just asking what, so it's all hour access.
Mr. Brock, can you speak into the microphone, please?
Yeah.
Could you speak into the microphone? Thank you.
Some of them don't even have a fence around them or anything, but there's one at Lower like that, but I want a fence around it, and a gate. But they need to have access, at least 12, 14 hours a day, because people, how the society is now, it's a 24-hour society, but,
All right, then I have another question. You say right now you're 2 units to start with, and this may be more for Janet, 2 buildings with the 60 units each. If he wants to build a 3rd unit, a 4th unit, or 5th unit, do they have to come back before us again? So how many units are we talking about total on this piece of property? How many buildings times units are we talking about on this piece of property?
probably 4
Okay, so
is about all that can go in there.
okay, so 4 buildings total with 60 units.
Well, that 60 may not, it could be a little vary from that, I wouldn't want to say exactly 60.
Whether 10 by 10 or 10 by 15, it could go 50 to 60.
Okay,
It could
We're
be-
looking at 30 by 135 foot by 30. We could put one in there 20 foot and put some 10 by 10s in there, 135 foot. So it would vary.
It could vary by 1 building, maybe.
Okay, I'm just want to visualize it, okay.
Janet?
Answer Commissioner Morgan's question about whether they would have to come back for additional approval. You're granting conditional use for the use of mini storage. He would not have to ask for additional approval for additional buildings. Additional approval from y'all. It would be staff approval.
Okay.
Are you planning on having any rock or any to make the buildings look nice?
Any what now?
Rock or brick, or what are you putting on the outside? Just metal, painted metal?
Did you say, I'm sorry,
Okay.
Chad Wood, who, this is what they do, they put in mini warehouses. And we talked to him, and of course, we have to get a site plan and present it to the county, of everything. It's gotta be, how it's gotta be. But they'll be engineered metal buildings. Be lighted, if it needs to be.
That was another question I had. So Commissioner Powers, I'd like to ask that we table this. I drove out there this afternoon. It is an extremely rural area behind the commercial, and people have lots of farmland, ponds, and the lighting concerns me. The 24-hour access off of Mashburn Road, it's even though it's commercial in front, it is very rural on the back. There's no in between here. So I think since neither one has seen either one of theirs list, I would like to ask you to make a motion or withdraw your motion and have them table it till August, so that if we were to vote no, he then has to wait a whole year. I think there's too many questions, even for myself, and I think the 2 of them, now that they each have their landscaping plans, they could sit down between now and the next meeting and decide which plan it's gonna be, and then it comes back to us. But I hesitate to approve something or disapprove something and he has to wait a whole year. The lighting's not discussed in here, the 24-hour access is extremely rural on the backside.
I know I'm out of order, but one thing you need to go about the covenant.
No, we can discuss.
No, we can discuss.
We're open
I want
discussion.
to hear it before
There's one thing about the
but come to the microphone if you don't mind.
There is an architectural control committee that has to approve anything on that property. And the existing committee is myself, my wife, and my brother. So we're going to want something very similar to this in order to approve it.
So if we pass it tonight, then y'all could turn it down. He still couldn't do it if that's deeded covenants, right?
I'm just saying that if you approve it on the condition that it has to go by the covenants, that architectural committee is a part of those covenants. So that you would be, if you would be putting that, rather than working it out ahead of time, that's where it would have to be worked out.
All right, well, let's table it.
Well, I'll withdraw my,
It's,
Or he's withdrawing.
I guess I had to say so.
I'll withdraw my motion.
Okay, he's withdrawn motion. Do we have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we table this to next month for both the parties to get together and review their landscape plan and review the request based on the architectural controls and.
Table it to when now?
Very next month.
Next month.
That allows y'all time to look at each other's list, planning, and y'all come up with something to bring that we could vote on. We have a motion.
I second.
We have a motion and a second to table it. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? Thank you all. That's all under the zoning session. We look for a motion from the board for adjournment.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? Thank you. Adjourn.